It was 1 month ago that the Krikar Empire had bombed a human civilian colony and killed 20,000 men, women and children, and now Ambassador Kirksval was in the outer office demanding to see me. This is the same Ambassador Kirksval who had laughed when I had accused him of the strike in council meetings and demanded retribution. He had said humans were weak and no one was going to side with him. He had been right. The council, fearing Krikar military might, had given them a strongly worded rebuke. I had told him at the time that this matter was not ended and that his actions would have consequence because those people he had murdered had friends and family who would act if the council did not. He had laughed again. Is that a threat, little human? No, I had said, it is a warning. After the meeting, my secretary had told me that someone anonymously had left a message. It said, "Thank you. You warned them." The secretary could not imagine who had sent the message, but I did. And sure enough had been attacking Krikar planets and killing everyone. What made the Krikar fearful was the message written on the walls in Krikar blood. This is for New Haven. We are the consequence. I allowed Ambassador Kirksval into the office. He leaned over the desk. Call them off. It has gone too far. I am sorry, Ambassador, but I can't call them off. I have already informed you in council meetings, twice, that these vigilantes acting without the authority and approval of Earth. But you know who they are. You could stop them. Ambassador, if we knew who they were, we would arrest them. But our investigations have only provided suspects that we are in the process of tracking down and interviewing. He went from fear to anger, you know. You're hiding them. You're helping them. I sighed and stood up. He was still 2 foot taller than me, but he now knew that that was not the advantage he was thought it was. Ambassador Krikvar, I said, this is a new diplomatic technique, threatening and accusing someone whilst you beg for them to save your life. The anger vanished. I'm sorry. The fear was back. I sat and signaled that he do the same. He slumped into the chair. I hate to say I told you so, Ambassador, but I told you so. If someone killed your family by an orbital strike and left their bodies to burn, wouldn't you want to avenge them? Well, of course, we are the Krikar. We are soldiers. We are strong. We would not stop until everything was in flames. But you are humans. And you thought that we were weak. And that was your mistake. The ambassador tried to save face. Yes, we thought you were weak. You were happy to talk and smile. It did not demand. You did not shout. You don't even look threatening. You're small and fleshy. What else could we think? Well, I said, now you know. They're circling, taking out the outer colonies and slowly moving in. He said, that is what our people think too. So don't worry, Ambassador, that will mean that they will leave you till last. So, we may have caught them by that time. He looked at me. Do you think they will try to kill me? Well, you did laugh at the news of the deaths and you did mock us. If it were me, I would put you right at the top of the list. What do I do? Well, it's only a suggestion. But if I were you, I would put my affairs in order. You know, just in case. I looked up to see 2 guards entering the outer office. My secretary had obviously alerted them in case things got heated. I held up my hand. The guard stood ready and the secretary opened the door. Sir, Ambassador Kirksval is finished here. I believe he has urgent business elsewhere. Please show him out. Kirksval got up defeated and left without another word. I signaled to the guards and they left. That looked animated, sir. I laughed. That was one word for it. Do you know what their real mistake was, Cindy? No, sir. They don't even know the names of the people they killed. So they have no idea who is coming for them. Who is coming for them? Well, let me give you 3 names. Dorothy Harcourt, her husband Danny, and her 4-year daughter, Beverly. Ring any bells? She thinks hard. No, sir. Well, before Dorothy became Harcourt, her name was Dorothy Kane. A pause, then recognition. Not? Yes, the daughter of General Marcus Kane of Earth Defense, who resigned his commission 1 month and has since disappeared. My God. They have no idea what's coming for them. I smiled. No, they do not. In some forgotten, nameless part of Council civilization, ex-General Marcus Kane surveyed his troops. They were about 1,000 strong. A few were military, but most were ordinary people whose families were now missing important people. They lacked discipline, but they had something better. Desire to make someone pay. When he had been showing them how to strip and reassemble their weapons and stopped after 7 hours, they had demanded he continue until they could do it in their sleep. They had found that their civilian skills could be transferred. One IT consultant had become a brilliant hacker and kept broadcasting video footage of Krikar planets burning to the remaining planets. Every time they blocked it, he found another way to keep the broadcasts going. Kane looked over at his second-in-command, Joseph Burns. He had been an ice cream vendor. He had scrimped and saved every credit to enable his son to go build a new colony. And 30 minutes of bombardment had swept aside 30 years of effort and sacrifice. He nodded. Burns spoke up. Right, everyone. Fallen Kane cleared his throat. Okay, we set up a pattern. So, the enemy thinks they know where we will strike next. So, we break the pattern. Now we attack supply chains and communication hubs, except the ones on the main world, of course. We want them to see us coming. So we will split into small groups and attack multiple targets at once. Burns will give you your targets. Any questions? Okay. Dismissed. At the next morning's council session, the subject was the same: the human obliteration of the Krikar Empire. Once again, Prime Speaker Yal called on me to end Earth's aggression. Once again, I sighed, stood up and said Earth does not sanction nor approve of these actions perpetuated by a small group of angry vigilantes. We are, of course, doing everything in our power to apprehend them and have them face justice for their crimes. However, as I pointed before, if the Krikar Empire doesn't like the actions of a small group of untrained but angry humans are doing its invincible empire, maybe it shouldn't have killed innocent civilians in the first place. Ambassador Sazzle yelled out, maybe we should attack Earth to show our displeasure. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Let me see if my translating device put your position clearly. You are upset, even terrified at the work of a small group of unorganized vigilantes with limited resources, and you think that you would feel less fearful and resolve the crisis faster if you involved Earth's highly trained, highly organized large defense force and the resources of our entire planet? Would that make you feel better, Ambassador? Well, I can tell you that you are right about one thing. It would solve the crisis faster, but I don't think you would enjoy the result, and I sat down. Ambassador Gravex stood. The humans presume too much, threatening the council. The combined fleet of the council members far outnumber your warships and soldiers. I exhaled again and stood. For the record, Ambassador Gravex, I did not threaten the council. I warned it. Now, in answer to your statement, yes, the combined force of the council outnumbers the military of our poor little planet. That is true. However, I would like to point out that the Krikar Empire vastly outnumbers and outguns the small group of vigilantes as well, by a much larger margin. Tell me, Ambassador, how is that working out for them? I went to sit then and said, one more thing for your consideration. Council members, I stood fully again. Let me give you something to really focus your minds. At the moment, the roughly 20 billion people of Earth and its colonies are divided over this issue. Some think that these vigilantes are justified in their anger and think they are heroes. The others agree with Earth's government that while their anger is entirely understandable, they are still criminals and need to face justice. If you choose to extend this skirmish into a full-blown war, those 20 billion people will stop arguing and unite. If you think a group of perhaps 1,000 to 2,000 upset humans is a terrifying prospect, what would you think of 20 billion? I sat down. No one spoke. Even the environment stabilizers became hushed. The session was closed after that to help delegates ponder the new evidence. I walked back into my office. Cindy looked up and smiled. Any news? I asked. Not much. We've had 3 more council members approach us with non-aggression treaties. I informed them that they already had them. Earth holds the position that if no aggression is shown towards us, then we will have nothing to retaliate against. I laughed. I can imagine you telling them that with that wonderful sing-song voice you have, and it sounding more terrifying than a barrage from a dreadnought. The next morning, I strolled into the council meeting. On the way in, I spotted Ambassador Kirksvall. I waved. Ambassador Kirksvall, still with us, I see. That's good. The session opened and I indicated to the Prime Speaker that I wanted to speak. He nodded. I got up. Honored members. I have some good news. Earth believes that we know who the leader of this vigilante group is. I projected images of a young family, a man, woman, and child smiling and waving at the camera. This is Danny and Dorothy Harcourt and their 4-year-old daughter Beverly, who were all victims of the Krikar incident. Before she was married, Dorothy was Dorothy Kane, daughter of General Marcus Kane, who was head of Earth's Defense Corps until his resignation a month ago. The council erupted into chaos. No one knew who Marcus Kane was because no one had taken any particular interest in the military of a weak species. But now they were starting to understand just how dangerous humans were. The idea that the head of the military was involved was not a pleasant though. Prime Speaker Jarl was calling for order. He turned to me. Why did you not bring this before us earlier, Ambassador? We have only just discovered it ourselves, Prime Speaker. And I do apologize to the Council for our tardiness. My only excuse was that there were so many names to check that we were overwhelmed and are doing the best we can, given the large number of dead that we have to process. As soon as we uncover more names, we will bring them to your attention. I sat down again. I glanced over to Kirksville. He thought he knew fear before, but now he realized that he had only tasted it before. Now he was drinking it fully. The session closed early again. Everyone had wanted time to find out about this general and what kind of threat he was. I knew that they would not like what they found. I left the council chambers. It was a beautiful day. I breathed in the air. It was not Earth, but at least it did not stink of lying, cheating, scheming diplomats, so there was that. I decided to go for a stroll and found himself in a park, and so I sat on a form and watched alien children from different species playing. What a pity they will grow up to hate each other. A voice from behind me snapped me out of my thoughts. That was some spectacle in there. Did not turn. I did not need to. Marcus, I am so sorry about Danny, Dorothy, and Beverly. From anyone else, I would not believe they meant it. But you. I know you do. You and your friends are proving very hard to catch. He laughed. That is because not everyone wants us caught. Well, I don't agree with your actions. I think that they are too much. But I know better than to stand between an angry father and the target of that anger. I just wish that the aliens had not misjudged peacefulness for weakness, and all of this ugliness would have been avoided. The general sighed. That is why you are a diplomat, Jonathan. Goodbye, goodbye, Marcus. I knew I was alone, and I knew the next time I saw him, he would be lying on a shelf in a morgue, because that was the only way to stop him. I went back to the office. When I got in, I looked at Cindy and nodded to my office. She followed me and closed the door. I've just met Marcus. General Kane? Way. Wrong question. I sat down on the comfy chairs. Cindy joined me, sitting opposite. I continued. The right question is why? The session closed early, so I went for a walk in a nearby park and he met me there. Now there was no way he could have planned it, because I didn't know I was going to do it until I did it. So he was waiting outside for you to come out? No, because you told me he had seen the proceedings. He was inside somewhere. Had he come to gloat? Possible. But no, Marcus doesn't do gloating. Once he is focused, everything is mission critical. Then it hit me. Reconnaissance. He is going to do something public at the council building, probably execute Kirksville. So, a bomb. No, not his style. Too messy. Too much collateral damage. Especially as he has not finished mopping up the Empire. No, it has to be a surgical strike, a clear message. A sniper? Well, that's a clear enough message. You are not safe anywhere. So, are you going to stop him? Cindy asked. I thought about it for a while. How do you stop a man like Kane? Then I smiled. Yes and no. Cindy looked suitably confused. Think about it. Kane could have remained hidden, and then I would not have been in a position to interfere. But he revealed himself. Is this a test of my character? Or is my reaction part of his plan? He wants you to try to save Kirksville in order to position him for the kill. Yes. We have deniability because we are trying to stop it and he has his target. It's brilliant. So, are you going to intervene if that is what is going to cause his death? Well, it doesn't matter to Marcus. He will have contingencies in place whether I act or not. Kirksville is a dead man walking. We all know that. But this way, we are not implicated, so how are you going to do it? I smiled. The next day, I was purposefully late for the opening of the council meeting. Then, I burst through the doors and yelled security. Protect Ambassador Kirksval. There is going to be an assassination attempt. The council was in chaos. I continued breathlessly, forgive me my lateness. We have just information that the vigilantes are going to try to assassinate Ambassador Kirksval in session. In this very building, more chaos. Kirksval looked over at me. Is your intelligence good? It's very good. Why are you still here? Security. Get the ambassador to safety. 4 guards grabbed the ambassador and whisked him out of a secure door to safety. I leaned on my deke, looking exhausted and relieved. Thank God, I said. As it were planned, a shot rang out. Everyone froze. For a moment, even time froze. And then there was a frenzy of guards searching the building. The delegates dropped to the floor, including me, but I kept my eye on that door. After a short while, the 4 guards returned covered in Kirksval's blood. I felt neither relief nor sadness. Weeks later, I was standing in council session. No one was talking. We all looked at the enormous holoscreen projection in horrified silence. It showed the capital world of the Krikar Empire, Krikar Prime, and it was all that was left. We watched as the Krikar prepared a defense and the vigilantes come forward. What followed was brutal. It was hard for me to watch. The effect on some of the others was profound. Many vomited. Some fainted. The vigilantes were suicidal, and they threw their anger at the last remnants of the aliens who had robbed their lives of joy. We watched for hours as the battle slowly turned against the Krikar. Of course it did. They were fighting an enemy who could not be reasoned with, who could not be intimidated, who could not be threatened, and who wanted only one thing, their extinction. Finally it was over. The Krikar were now just a memory. The screen went blank. After a pause, Jarl turned to me. Is it over? I hope so, another ambassador said. You hope so? There may be one more target, this council. They may feel that we are culpable in this atrocity by our inaction and our useless words. I started to pack my things into my briefcase. Slowly, methodically. How will it happen? Ambassador, someone asked. Oh, perhaps a bomb, perhaps poison in the air supply. But it will be something localized. Kane hates collateral damage. Another asked the question that no one wanted to ask. How will we know that they want to kill us? We don't, I replied, and don't think inaction is a good sign. They may wait weeks or months until you start to feel safe, and then they will strike. The locks on my briefcase snapped shut but sounded like gunshots in the silence. Good day, honored delegates. See you tomorrow, and I left. I entered my office. Cindy came in behind me looking confused. You didn't tell them about the anonymous message, presumably from General Kane saying it's done. Goodbye. No, I said. I want those bastards to learn about accountability. Those council members don't really care about anything but themselves. If we had threatened their whole species but they would be safe, they would not give it a second thought. So, the opportunity to put their self-serving, selfish, scrawny necks on a chopping board was too good an opportunity to pass up. Maybe they will think a little more about their action. Do we know what the difference is between how human wage and everyone else? We fight dirty, I laughed. True. But no. Others fight a war. We fight war itself. We make the very idea of war with us so terrifying and repugnant that no one will ever attack us again. With the threat of the last engagement not finished yet, I doubt that they will want to add another threat for a long time. You fight dirtier than the rest of us put together, I laughed. It's the only requirement for the job.